Trevor Harris, the quarterback at Saskatchewan Roughriders, introduced me to the ARPneuro. I actually used the ARPRS, in some of my training myself. I really liked it and started diving off into it. And I've seen the improvement that it's made in Trevor's career after being injured, last year. I really have seen some things on my other passion, like the diabetic world, with the PRS and, the ARP whole device. So, I love it. And I think the more we can get knowledge out to not just athletics, the better for everybody. Every individual needs one of these, especially as you age. Joint integrity and, being able to be mobile your whole life as you do retire, it's something to be said, right? Because a lot of people retire and they just kind of want to sit around. You got to move.
I'd love to get your insight on the first time you used the PRS. What was it for? And tell us a little bit about, from your background, the sensations, the success, and how you personally felt the results of it.
I'm 51 and, training in my age, you still can do various things, right? And it's still, I always say age is just a number, but, sometimes that ain't the case. So when Trevor first let me use the PRS, I was using it on my low back and my hips, and I was actually squatting and doing various posterior chain work. And normally, at my age now, I get a little stiff and just a little bit of soreness in my joint, in my hip joint. And I used it for that off and on that whole season. And I was like, wow, I'm not hurting. I still have great mobility, actually better, because now my blood flow to my joints is more efficient. And I was amazed. And so I was kind of hooked then, because even though I'm older, weights are relative, right? So as far as if I squat, I might squat some heavier weight that most people can't squat or do, but it's lighter to me, but some people might think it's heavy, right? So as I go down to my depth, normally I go, oh man, I feel that in my hip. When I literally have the PRS on while I'm doing it, it's great. There ain't nothing else you can say. It's great. You put 405 pounds on your back and you're just doing reps, and it's like, this is awesome. It makes a big difference. And like I said, just being able to, the next day, not being sore or hurting in your joint, not muscular in your joints, it just freed me up, and I love it.
On top of that, when you're going through you're contracting muscles, and that helps to absorb force. That as well as I know. When you realized it could do this, how did you use this to your advantage as a better strength coach with the athletes that you have now, and kind of what you're sort of merging into, in this other chapter of your life?
Well, I realized that pre-training or pre-practice or even pre-game, especially with the athletes I have now, as I'm here with them, the warm-up, the activation is so much more efficient. You're in and out 5, 6, 7 minutes, and the kids are flying around. They're feeling great. Myself personally too, when I go to do a snatch or a clean and jerk, you just don't hurt. And so it's amazing. I don't know, the blood flow itself, not even actually during the training, the blood flow, selector on the PRS, I leave that thing on for a few hours all the time.
You mentioned kind of like the lengthening and stretching. Are you doing something specific with the RX or the PRS with your athletes before the training session begins, or is it just kind of slapping the pads on?
Not really specific, because, warm-ups and activation things change every session depending on what we're about to work. But I generally love starting, in the thoracic area, no matter any type of movement for the spine. I think we do first. And just to get some blood flow, and then we go to the hips. And as far as movement patterns, and just having the PRS on the low back and on the hip, if we're working lower body that day, it seems to be like you can just see their eyes. It's kind of like my eyes when I was first using it. It's like, oh my gosh. And so it's pretty cool to see. And then of course, if you're going to do something upper body, you put it on the rear delts or the anterior delt, and it's like, it's amazing. Or put it on the lat so you can get that great lat stretch, and it's amazing. I'll tell you, the stretch reflex there is second to none when you do that. So.
I loved what you said when you said weight is relative. Now, can you explain to the audience and anybody who's listening who knows nothing about this technology, how can you use that to your advantage with someone who's actually trying to increase weight or strength? Is this something that you've used with some of your athletes to kind of subsidize some weight?
You don't got to go as heavy to get especially with new or intermediate, they're going to make gains regardless, right? You know, as long as you're getting good biomechanic movement patterns, as long as all that's the par, they're going to make gains regardless because they've not done nothing. Or even if somebody's supposed at the intermediate, you do it correctly, now they're better. But with the PRS, the contractions are so great that the weight don't have to be too heavy. And as long as you're moving in the correct form, I've noticed just over the last couple of months, significant gains, definitely in range of motion, but strength as well. Because when you test, and we don't do a one rep test on kids, but sometimes depends on, you know, their skill level, but their weights are jumping up, and I'm not doing nothing spectacular for them. It's just basic stuff, just added in the PRS. What's crazy is they think, you know, that their friends and other people, they're trying to do all this heavy weight and they're out of control. And they see me say, look, technique is everything. Let's use this device. Let's see if it works. If you don't like it, we won't use it no more. Of course, they love it. And you know, automatically after 4 weeks, things are going up, especially for more skilled advanced level. I got kids, you know, getting ready to go to college in August. You know, they're still in high school now, but they're going to college, and they absolutely love it. One kid I got, every time before we do upper body, I just started training him this last 2 months. He's never really been super strong upper body, and he's a lineman, and his weights are jumping crazy by using the PRS.